Welcome, everybody. Are we on? There we go. Well, this is our first out of studio podcast. Well, welcome to Hello Chaos. We are the weekly podcast exploring the messy and chaotic lives and minds of founders, entrepreneurs, and innovators. Hello Chaos is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange Whip. That's Orange Whip, WIP for work in progress. Orange Whip is a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities through hyperlocal online platforms that are designed to encourage, inform, inspire, and create connections to help founders along their journey. Orange Whip is part storyteller, part navigator. It's a how-to guide and a content hub. We tell real and raw and honest stories, and that's why our mantra is where aha meets oh shit. My name is Jennifer Sutton, aka JJ. That's what my friends and family call me. I am the founder of Orange Whip and your podcast host for today. We do record live every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and then we publish on all podcast platforms on the following Sunday. So you'll hear as we promote it all next week. This episode is brought to you by the Upstate South Carolina LGBT Chamber. As the first and only LGBT plus Chamber of Commerce in the state of South Carolina, the Upstate LGBT Chamber and LGBT plus professionals and allies who understand that diversity, equality, and economic development are vital for any healthy community. From creating connections and professional development opportunities to providing resources and advocacy, the Upstate LGBT plus Chamber is here to support you in a more inclusive and diverse upstate of South Carolina business community. For more information, go to their website at upstatelgbt.org. On our podcast today, we welcome Melanie Spring. She is Chief Visionary of Confidencia. Did I pronounce that right, Melanie? All right, yay. Welcome, Melanie, to our 58th podcast. Thank you for coming aboard. So I'm just going to say, let's just start it off. Why don't you just tell us about, the how you got involved in entrepreneurship and your entrepreneurial journey.
That's half an hour, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm from both sides of my family are entrepreneurs. My grandparents, my parents, my aunts and uncles, my siblings, every one of us. So we're not employable, it seems, on both sides of my family. So by the time I finished college, I had already started my first business. And when I actually got my first job, my dad said, "Oh my gosh, why are you working for the man?" And I was like, "I'm working for an entrepreneur, Dad." He's like, "I know, but you should work for yourself." And so it just became a thing that by the time I lost my job in 2008, which was only like 6 years after getting my first job, that I started my business. And for 8 years, I had a branding agency until I wore myself out, like a lot of us do. And
Yes.
I quit my own business and then started a second business. Over the next 3 or 4 years, I finally figured out what it was that I wanted to do. So I was able to do that.
Which is what? What is it? What was the magic, the magic position and thing you wanted to do?
I realized that my gift in the world is to help people understand their brilliance and build their rebellion. So I know that there are not everyone needs to be an entrepreneur. Not everyone is built for that. But for the people who know they're here for a bigger purpose, either the people who have retired and know that their first career was for one thing and their second career is to do their purposeful work, or for people who are just starting out and really wanting that support. Most of us don't have a tribe of humans who understand. So we all have to fall on our faces over and over and over again. And I was like, why? I don't feel like we need to. So why don't we all get together and support each other and allow ourselves to build the thing that we need to by becoming the rebels we already are?
So you and I met, it was in what, 2015?
Yeah.
Was that, were you, because you hadn't started this job. You were doing something in similar. You were doing motivation, encouragement, building, but especially around female founders and So like, how did you go from that and then it evolved into Confidencia?
So Cicerino was my branding agency. And while I was
Okay.
doing that, I also became an international keynote speaker. And so I had originally started being a speaker because I trained people on how to understand their brand and know who they were and understand how to do that for their business. And one of my final clients was actually Five Guys, the burgers and fries company. And
Yeah.
so I worked with little companies that were just starting and big companies who'd been around for 30 years. Some of them had been around for over 100 years at the point that I worked
Wow.
with them. And what I learned was they're all struggling with the same things. So I did the tour that I was with Mary, my photographer. We did
Yeah.
the tour and took pictures of women who were doing really badass things. And we thought, why not just like expand that a little bit more? And so women haven't always been like the focus. I've always wanted to just support people who just need the support. But because I'm a woman, I tend to attract more women to be
Right.
able to be a badass boss like me.
So, what's been the most rewarding part of your journey?
Oh, I love watching people wake up.
Hmm.
So I had a friend of mine who said, I told her that, and she said, but what are you talking about, wake up? I was
Yeah.
like, well, when someone realizes they've been sleeping and they finally like have that aha moment of like, oh, now I see what you see. They often think the whole time, well, Melanie, you're just really patient. Like you're the type of person to just be really patient with people. And I was like, no, it's not necessarily that I'm patient. It's just I can see things in other people that they can't see in themselves. And I can't wait until they see it. So the moment that someone it just finally goes, oh, I'm here. I'm like that. That's the most rewarding part of my life.
So, how do you try to uncover that? Like, or how do you help people uncover that aha moment for themselves?
A lot of ways, but what I
A lot.
realized was everybody's different. So
Yeah.
there can't that's the one thing I love about what I do and how I'm built is I know that the same program isn't going to work for everybody. The same course isn't going to be the same for everybody. The same aha moment isn't going to come because of it following the same rules. And so because it's a rebellion, I throw out all the rules and I create a safe space for people to go, but I don't want to do it like other people. And it's like, good, you shouldn't do it like other people. So
Yeah.
let's learn from other people. Let's take little bits and pieces and then put it together in a way that fits you the most. So being able to look at people and say, what do you actually need? And helping them go inside for the answers. At the end of the day, every one of us has all of the answers we need inside of us already. It's just my job to help you access them.
Gotcha. So, as you've kind of helped people come out of their journey, these big aha moments, what's been so for you? What was your aha moment? Just look, I'm going to help other people. That's my gift. Or was there something that another like this is who I am?
Mm. I've had that happen multiple times in my life, but one of the biggest things that I learned was that I have never been like everyone else.
Hmm.
And so once I finally started like tapping into why that was, like I've always been a rebel. Since I was a little kid, I've always been a rebel.
Right.
And once I finally like just went, you know what, I'm just that way. Like that's just who I am. And I accepted that. That's when like aha moment after aha moment after aha moment happened. But I have to say, and I don't know how much we want to talk about this anyway, but one of the biggest things for me that helped, which I will tell you right now, I was the most straight edge kid. I was a Christian girl who grew up in a Christian town who like didn't drink coffee till I was 32, didn't drink alcohol until I was 28, like straight edge.
Hmm.
What I learned was psychedelics were the most pivotal thing to help me heal the past trauma and access the things that therapy could never do, that life coaches could never help with. Like I got access to things that I never knew were in there, and it unpacked the stuff that I really needed to be able to do what I do now.
So really you took a journey of very deep self-awareness
Mm-hmm.
and
Very.
self-realization, very deep, using, I guess, so was that you trying psychedelics on your own? Did someone like another coach help you through this? Like what was that journey like?
It was all sorts of those things.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was invited by a coach to go to a journey, and I won't share what specifically, but to do a journey with a group of professionals. And then later I ended up doing some psychotherapy that was legal, totally legal stuff. I mean, everything I've done is legal depending on what state you're in and in what county you're in and all that kind of stuff. But one thing I learned was that based on who I actually am as a human, I've always been someone who can guide other people. So we actually ended up, my husband and I started doing this kind of support for other people to do that through some of the work that I do from a business perspective, but also personally in their relationships and who they are and how they show up in the world. And so getting access to that ability to find that thing that's in there, to uncover it and go, I just don't want that anymore. I got to the point that even my dog doesn't have anxiety anymore because I've shifted all of mine.
You and this is beyond, I'm assuming you went through like all the strength finders, like all the
everything,
the Myers-Briggs, the DISC and all that. So what you're talking about is taking an even deeper kind of introspective of, yes, these are my strengths. Yes, this is my work attitude, or this is what I get motivated by. But it was really kind of uncovering what makes you happy and what you're like, what.
It is. And I think there's also like another layer to it, which is I trained in numerology years ago, like 10 years ago, and learned about what our numbers mean, like our name and our birth date and all of that stuff. There's a whole bunch around that. But then I also learned about a thing called human design, which was the most pivotal for me because I found out in human design, I'm actually a manifester. And I was raised by a generator. Generators are like, do, go people. Manifestors are bring in information, hand it to other people, take a nap. And I didn't know that I just been trying to be a generator my whole life when I was actually a manifester. And once I finally was like, I can just be me. Okay, well, I'm going to just go sit and journal, see what comes up. I was able to access stuff that other people are like, where did you even come up with that? Like, that's not even possible. And I was like, yeah, well, when you're tapped in, magic happens.
Yeah. So do you take people through when you're, through that journey of human design? So it's kind of that mix of self-awareness, strength finder, human design. I've never heard the human design aspect. Can you tell me more about that? Or
sure. It's a lot
like I've never heard that topic.
Well, the nice thing is it's not a personality test. So you're not answering questions. It's not like something you can just be like, oh, well, today I feel like this, but tomorrow I feel like this. And then you change whatever comes up. So, and I'm really good at messing with personality tests because like I understand who I am, but I also can be like, let's just see which way I'd like to take this today. Yeah. So one thing I did with human design is, and a mentor of mine actually shared it with me. And now I use it with all of my clients because if you're a generator, I'm going to talk to you differently than if you're a projector. I'm not going to help you build a business that a projector should be building if you're a generator. Or if you're spinning out and you're a manifesting generator, I'm going to help you get focused, but allow you to keep all your ideas. Where a generator, I get you focused on one of them. So each of the different designs, and they're general, there's 5 of them, but there's also very specific pieces like profile pieces and like heart-centered pieces. And where is your authority? Like, how do you find your intuition? Because it's not your gut for everybody. Even though everyone's like, listen to your gut. I'm like, my gut says I'm hungry. My emotions tell me stuff, but I'm an emotional manifester. So it's different. So basically it takes, and the bigger picture is your soul passed through the neutrinos in the universe. And at a certain moment in time, you were given a gift to be able to learn something in human design. And you brought into this world to find your soul's purpose, which is not like a job, but it's a little bit more than that. It's how can you really find why you're here. So I love it because it allows you to not just put people in boxes, because I don't like the boxes. I'm a rebel. Don't like the boxes. But it allows me to talk to people in a way that they're like, oh, that's why I do. No wonder I didn't like that. Oh, that makes sense. Like it just clarifies everything and helps you tap into what's the best thing for you.
Right. Yeah. Because I've taken every one of those tests. I used to be even a PI trainer, and it's one of those. It's like, well, it depends. Well, it depends.
Right.
Or you're in a blend and you're like, okay, well, yeah, they all have pieces and parts of me, but it's still not helping me win. You still have like there's still that as a founder, that isolation that we feel, the How do you grow and scale? And are you are you hiring the right people? Are you scaling the right way? And you can follow all the checklists and all the, what people tell you, but then there's still just um, shit happens, and it
Yeah.
doesn't always work. You're like, I'm following all the, yeah, that's what I felt that. I hear that a lot from different founders of, I'm doing what all the books are telling me or what my classes have told me, but why is it not working for me like it does for other people?
Because it doesn't fit for everyone. And that's why every time there's a coach or a program that's like, just do these things and you'll do whatever. That's like, that's never that it doesn't work. It doesn't work for everybody because nobody's the same. So why are we have to do things?
And that should be common sense. I mean, Mel, you and I come from marketing and branding. That's the same thing as like, there is no template for a brand. There is no template for a marketing plan or a media plan because your business is different. Your audience is different. Your goals are different. So you have a unique blueprint. It's not going to look like everybody. Well, you're right. That's not the same blueprint you should have for yourself either.
Yeah.
And you can't fit into one of these, the discs, like these already, I guess predefined.
And you can't. That's the thing, is they're only little parts and pieces of you. That's why there's so many different tests, is because it's like saying someone is an introvert or an extrovert. Right. Most people don't fit into one or the other. My husband's an introverted extrovert. I'm an extroverted introvert. Like there's the ambiverts. It's like you can't fit people into little boxes and expect people to just follow along because none of us fit into a box. So why are we also taught that there's a right way to do things? What I've learned is like, there's no such thing as right or wrong. Like there is no right or wrong. Yes, there are things that are laws of the universe. There are laws like manifestation. There's ways to be able to think about things differently, but at the same time, there's no right or wrong way for anyone to do anything. Right. You get to do it yourself, your way.
So what has surprised you the most? Like just like finding this uniqueness, this gift, or were there other things that you were like, holy crap?
Yeah. Yeah. So I mentioned my dog doesn't have anxiety anymore. A few years ago, we put him on anti-anxiety medication, like a lot of it too, because he was so anxious all the time that he would bite people. Oh. And what I realized in the last year of doing like deeper, like the last 2 years of doing deep work, but like the last year of even deeper, like dives into like, where is all this from? I didn't know I had anxiety that had carried me through my whole life. Like I lived in a constant state of anxiousness, like anxious energy, and I had no idea. Like I was always scared and just doing things anyway. So everyone's like, oh, you're such a badass. And I'm like, yeah, but you have no idea how much fear I have underneath this all the time. And I didn't even know it either. So I didn't feel anxious because I didn't know how to not feel anxious. So once I cleared it, I was like, whoa. I had no idea that I've been sitting here making all these decisions based on my anxiety, not from a place of like, how could I move this forward? And as soon as I cleared it, my dog stopped biting people. Like other people, I started like having much deeper conversations. I stopped being scared of sales calls for all things. Like I've been doing sales a really long time, but I would get on a call and be like, okay, but what if they don't like me? And what if something happens and I don't really understand, like all this stuff. I had no idea that was under there the whole time. And as soon as it cleared it, I can see it in other people now where I'm like, do you want to still be anxious forever? Do you really feel like this is necessary? They're like, oh, but I'm just anxious. I take anti-anxiety medication. I'm like, do you want to stop? Because you don't have to. Or like antidepressants. Like so many people are on antidepressants. And I'm like, we can change this. These are not diseases, you guys. This is a disorder that we can actually shift. But it's the mentality of it that I think was the most impressive to me. Was like, I have to keep this because that's how I just am. When now I'm like, no,
you don't have to.
Not.
Do you feel like do people have to have lived experiences to go through this, the self-realization, the self-actualization? No. Like, or is it, can you start that at, high school? Like, how do you, what's that process like of that you take people through? And do you have like, these are the minimums of who should go through something like this?
Well, I think for most of the work that I do, I'm supporting people on showing up 100% as themselves. And most people don't even realize they're not showing up 100% as themselves. And so my gift is being able to see someone and go, ooh, we can get in there and we can mold you and make you into who you really are meant to be. But what I
Right.
realize is most people are focused on a goal. So they come to me because they're like, well, I really want to launch this side business, or I really want to write a talk, or I really want to get confident in who I am and stand up and be able to share something, or I want my sales pitch to just be like amazing. And I'm like, okay, we can do any of those things. And you want to make $1 million company or a multi-million dollar company, or you want to
Right.
create an app that sells for billions of dollars. But are you the person who does that work? And can we help you become the person who does that work? And so at
Right.
the end of the day, sure, I'm helping on the business side, but in reality, I'm helping a person become the human being who does the thing that they really want to do, which gives them the confidence to go, well, duh, now I know I can do it. Instead of
Right.
before where they're like, but what if I can? And what if it doesn't work out? And what if I sink my family? And what if everything goes awry? And what if like
Right.
anything could be scary? They're going, oh, I got this.
Yeah. As now like you've got your business and is it just you today, or do you have a team? Like what does your business look like today, and is that where you want it to be?
That's a great
Yeah.
phrasing of that question. So my business is set up with, I have myself, my husband works with me, but he's also launching his own company. So he co-hosts our events with us. He does
Okay.
a lot of the medicine work that we do. He's like a really grounded 800-year-old medicine man in a 32-year-old man's body, which is wonderful. And he's launching a company called Hama, which is it's kind of a side-by-side business to mine. And so he's building a social club for the conscious community.
Okay.
And so it allows people to like connect with each other, which is what the Brilliant Rebels does as well. So both of them go together. And so he works with me as my CFO, my CMO, like helping make sure all the structure is in place, because as we continue to grow, we're dropping new people into place. Like I have an event manager who literally
Okay.
runs every one of our events. I give her an idea and she's like, oh, let's do a Midsummer Night's Dream party at the Shakespeare on the Hudson. And like, we're going to do these like magical experiences. And then I have all their rebels, which we're actually training up to be rebel trainers because they've already been through the experience. And they're like, but I want to do this for other people. Can I just do it with you? So like over time, we're actually just building the community to support itself. So
Gotcha.
we have a small team, but we're also growing the community on a bigger
Yeah.
level
Okay.
too.
The small but mighty.
Exactly. And they're all helping each other. It's like the most amazing mastermind because all of them are like, oh, but you know how to do this and you know how to do that. Let's partner on this and we can do this thing together.
Yeah. Now, are you the architect or the orchestrator of like, okay, for these roles we need to have generators, and these roles we need to have are you the one that's designing that to go
Oh yeah.
in? Okay. So everyone's kind of gone through kind of the journey, and you guys know this role is that, and do you guys even identify, like before you even the people, you're like, we need a projector for this?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I don't know all the 5 ones. I picked up on the projector and the generator and the manifester, the 3.
Yep.
What are
That's
the
3.
other 2? Just curious.
Manifesting generator and reflector.
Reflector. Okay.
Yeah. My husband's a manifesting generator. So that means he gets tons of ideas and can implement them. The problem is manifesting generators tend to not get through the end of projects. So he's like written a book, launched it, and never told anybody. I launched it for him. And then like he finished his agency, was like, I don't want to do this anymore, even after he built a bunch of things. But now the thing he's doing is so on purpose for him that he's like, of course I want to launch it. But he keeps running up against those like, yeah, but I'm so close, but like, what if I did this first before I did, like, I'm like, just launch it.
Yeah.
But that's how
So
he
then
works.
you come in and you like, okay, I can finish it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So where have you guys struggled the most in your scale up founder journey? What's been your biggest barrier?
Oh, let's see. My biggest barrier has been the human hiring piece of it. I've hired really amazing people my whole career, but it seems that when you're in this space, especially in a space of growth, you tend to like run through people easier especially those who are like, oh, no, I'm totally here and I want to grow and I'm so excited. And you watch them grow and then you start watching them go backwards and you're like, no, please. Okay, we'll find another person. But it's also what I've realized is it's because they're standing on the outside. So they're administrative and they're like, oh, but I'm not a rebel. So they're like, I'm not going to learn I'm not going to do all the exercises. I'll just be close to it. So I'll pick up what I need. And instead of actually doing the deep work, they're like, I'm good. And that becomes an entitled space, which doesn't work. So I have an event manager now who is like every retreat picking up new things, taking it back to her friends, like updating some new things for her relationship and like really growing with us. And she feels so connected and she grows every single time we do it. She's like, I don't even know how, but every time I get something new. And that's the kind of person I'm looking for.
That's the people not the ones that they need to be ambassadors, infused, integrated in.
Yes.
What would you advise other founders or entrepreneurs in that, scale up mode as they're trying to figure out the pieces and parts of their business? If you could give them advice of don't do what I did.
Oh man. Well, I think the biggest advice I would give anybody, and it's not, I know I would give this advice to anyone, is as soon as you feel like you're hustling, stop. Huh. As soon as you start saying the words like, oh, I'm so busy, stop. That's your trigger word to say, wait a second, I shouldn't be anymore. Like there's no reason for me to hustle. There's no reason for me to hit the ground running. Because if you're thinking about things from a space of like, yeah, but I have to pay the bills and I have to make sure that I get this done. And what if we don't make it? That comes from a place of scarcity, which you're running out of time, first of all, the scarcity and lack of time. Then you're running out of money, which causes you to make decisions that are based on how do I get more money in? So being able to really focus on, I know this is the thing I'm meant to do, and I can do it from a place of ease and flow. And if you don't know how to do that, hiring a mentor to support you who's been there, who understands.
Right.
You can actually continue to do that. But as soon as you get into the like, oh, I'm so busy, it's just so busy, everything's so busy, you're already on the wrong.
Where it hurts, right? It's like these decisions aren't comfortable.
No.
They shouldn't be uncomfortable. I mean, yes, we always say, you got to get, comfortable with being uncomfortable. But I'm talking like, we've talked to founders who are just like, I hate it. Like it's awful. You're saying that's when you need to take it. It's like, let's go find out why.
Yeah. That's when you start asking yourself the questions. Get curious. Understand this shouldn't be happening to me.
Right.
And come back and listen to this episode again and go, oh, wait, that's right. It shouldn't be happening to me. Why am I feeling this way? And how do I shift it?
What do you do, like daily routines, or mental exercises to like kind of keep you in the space of healthiness?
Oh yeah,
like mental fitness. Like
yeah, for sure.
I mean, what is that? Do you have any? Is it all personalized based on you and where you show up and all that, or is there just some other disciplines that you've like, this is the best, if you just do these things it'll make you feel better?
Well, I give people an idea. So everyone should make their own. I don't think anyone should do the same routines. And I really hate all those articles that are like, this is the top 5 things that all multimillionaires
at 5 a.m. and do these things. Yeah.
No, everyone's built differently. So mornings are like, I usually ask people, when is the time that you're most creative? Yeah. And some people it's morning, some people it's midday, some people it's evening. And that's when I tell people that's the moment you do your rituals. So instead of routines where you're like, okay, but I have to go to the gym and then I have to meditate and I have to do like, those are all just routines. And that's not going to help you because those habits die if you don't make ceremony around it. So the one thing I'd like to tell people is you are a sacred being. And if you started treating yourself like a sacred being, you would create ceremony in everyday life. You would create rituals, not routines. You wouldn't just have habits. You would say, oh, this is my ritual and I do this because I'm a sacred being. And so once you tap into that, you start thinking, okay, would morning pages be a good idea? Just dumping your brain out on paper, not trying to edit, not trying to judge it, just dump your brain out, see what happens, see what's underneath all of it. Is meditation feeling really good? Is exercise or a walk feeling really good? Like, what are the things that would feel like so good and juicy that would be like, oh, I love this time. I love this me time. I need this to be able to like get myself creative. And I think
Right.
mine is really tapping into the, I mean, most of mine has happens at like between 5 and 6 in the morning because I love mornings so much. But I like to pour my coffee, do my morning pages, get a little writing done, maybe do a meditation. But I always listen to music and put a candle, so it becomes a ritual. It doesn't become a routine, like, oh, I have to cross these things off my
Yeah.
list. They're not to dos. But the
Right.
other piece of it is
Oh, wait,
once,
stop. That's really important. Hold on, go back. They're not to-dos,
no,
right? They're just things that you need to do to make you better, run the company, whatever you need. It's like it's your ritual. I love that. It's not a routine. It's a ritual. It's not a to-do. It's
right.
just things that you need. You must do.
Yeah, it's a requirement for your everyday life to be happy and to tap into that ease and flow. Because if you are hustling all the time, that means you forgot yourself. And most people I've found, and I keep thinking like, oh, you seem to really understand yourself. And then later I'm like, maybe not so much. And so what happens is we just are so disconnected. Like our souls are so disconnected from our bodies that we, especially women, hate our bodies and try to get it to come on this journey with us. And then we're like punishing it all the time by feeding it a certain way just to like get it to look a certain way and making ourselves go to the gym and like making it hard when the moment I finally connected to this body of mine, I'm in the best shape of my life at 42. Like best shape of my life. I love to go do strength training. It feels so good in my body to have my clothes fit me. It feels so good in my body to have energy because my husband's 10 years younger than I am. So I've got to keep it. To really like tap into my body, I had to go, what do I need to feel good? I want to ride my Peloton. I want to go for a paddleboard. I want to feel good when I'm doing it. I want to dance. I don't just want to be like, I have to work out and make my body follow what I want.
Right.
Feel good instead.
I love that. Okay, so looking the little the crystal ball a year from now, what does your business look like? What do
Oh,
you look like a year from now?
I mean, hot. That's what I'm going to look like.
Yeah.
No, but I have a book coming out in January. It's called Brilliant Rebel. And
Nice.
the tagline is do the work you're really here to do. And so the book is going to be the launching point for a course that I have built to go with the Brilliant Rebels retreat to also allow people to have more access because my retreats are not cheap and they're also really intimate. I keep them small on purpose because I want everyone to connect. But next year, by this time, we're going to have launched a conference that's coming out next fall called the Brilliant
Okay.
Rebellion. And
Is there a location for that or not yet? Okay.
my event manager is like, can't wait. But it'll be kind of like a Burning Man meets like a Mastermind Talks meets an A Fest. It's kind of like a music festival meets a conference, but not in a conference center. So like outdoors, really fun, great speakers, like deep growth. So
And more for founders and entrepreneurs, CEOs type of, or just whoever.
yeah, it's the people who are in the world who, and I found a lot of CEOs, a lot of executives are the brilliant rebels who are leading the corporate rebellion. And then there's also a lot of entrepreneurs who are leading it from their spaces too. So I think it's more for the people who just understand, like, I'm here for something bigger and I want to make sure I know what it is. So that, and also just being able to really be accessible to a lot more people, because that's what I've realized is I'm only one person, but my goal is not to have people remember Melanie Spring. I want them to remember the Brilliant Rebellion. And I want to be able to train brilliant rebels to train brilliant rebels to train brilliant rebels, because the more people I touch, the more they touch, the more they touch.
Right. The community, building the community.
Mm-hmm.
So you also work with your husband. So advice as you guys are launching your own you have your own entrepreneurial journeys. You guys are connected both, from a business perspective, but also relationship wise. Has there been challenges with that? Or it was because you guys have gone through this self-actualization, you guys know so much about each other, it's easier to work. I'm just curious of, the partnership, both in business as well as, marital.
Yeah. We've had a fun journey with that. I met my husband 6 years ago when I had just quit my business and was about to launch what I'm doing now. And I had gone to Bali and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I broke up with my boyfriend. I quit my business. I came home. I met him like 3 months later. And then
Wow.
by the end of that same year, I had moved to Denver to be with him. And what we realized was he had a marketing agency at the time that he didn't like. I had just quit my branding agency. And we're a powerhouse couple when it comes to branding and marketing, but neither of us wanted to do it anymore. So we're like using our own stuff for our own rebels now. But at the same time, what we realized was we were like 100% a no for working together. I'm like, I'll help you with your business. We'll brainstorm on Saturday mornings. You'll do the same for me, but that's as far as it goes. You do your thing. I'll do my thing, period. But then as soon as my husband and I did one of the journeys together with this group, he found that he was doing the wrong work. And he's like, I knew it, but I could never put my finger on it. What's the next thing I'm supposed to be doing? And so once he realized he needed to build a social club for the conscious community, he's like, I don't want to be a life coach. I'm 32. He's like, I might be 800 in like, the other realm, but I'm 32. So I don't want to be like a life coach, but I know all of the people in the personal development industry. Like he had been doing it for so long. So he knew all the top names. He knew all the people to call. And so he started building a list of elders and started building a list of people he knew were going to be like really helpful to this community. And so he's just at the hub of the whole thing. So when he finally did that and I'm doing what I'm doing, we were like, this feels a little too weird that like this is all coming together. And so we just decided one day we actually did our own work to say, what does this look like for us to sit down and work together, but also create solid boundaries that are loving boundaries around we're not always working and we can't bring our personal life into work and we're not going to share those two things, but can we collaborate in a way that allows us to just like amplify everything we're both doing? As soon as we did that, we were like, why haven't we been working together all this time?
Yeah. So what were the rules? What were like the number one, like, these are the rules, boundaries, we're like the top three.
Well, first of all, we have to have us time, like just us, like couple time where we're not talking about work, which gets really tough when you're both working on your businesses.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we have very specific date night time. We have very specific no talking about work time. We go for a walk in the evenings and like let things go and come back and have our evenings together. We have very specific check-ins with each other. We set meetings on the calendar to actually do work stuff. We don't just like yell and, hey, do you need this? We're very careful about that. But I think the biggest boundary we've set with all of it is that we're not doing this for us. And so once we were both like, okay, but this is for a much bigger purpose, so we can't bring our stuff into it. We were able to start helping other couples with the same thing because they saw in us, they're like, you guys are so connected and you really work together. We realized it was because he has a science brain. He's like super, I need to know why, I need to know how, like when I do this, I want to make sure all of these things actually happen the way they're supposed to. And I'm like super woo on the other side going, yeah, but I'm just feeling into my intuition and I can shift the energy and like all that stuff. He's like, I don't understand. But as soon as we came together, we were like, we are two people that if you put us together, we're a powerhouse of one person. So being able to do that and being able to put those boundaries around it allows other couples to be able to see that they can have that too, or single people to go, oh, I want that in my relationship when I'm ready. So yeah.
I love that. That's great. So what does keep you up at night? What stresses do you have any stresses at night? Or you're like, man, I snooze. There's no worries here.
Well, after clearing my anxiety, I can't believe I ever did sleep in the first place. So there's that. But I think most of it is, I mean, if my husband would probably answer this differently about me. So if you asked him, you'd probably get a different answer. But I think what he would even say is it's more about like being in full surrender. So my last retreat, the Brilliant Rebels retreat, I always set an intention at the beginning and then also the end. And at the end of the retreat, I said, my intention is that I am in full surrender. So saying that is like a really big leap for me because I'm like, but I also really like control and can I just control things and can I just like make sure things happen? Because I know I'm really good at that. So once I let go, I was like, this is going to keep me up at night for a while. Like, how can I just fully let go and just say the universe is going to show up when it needs to? And so I would say one of the things that happened recently was we had a young family locally that was losing their home and they were going to be homeless. They have an 8 and a 4-year-old. And they were just going through a nightmare situation. And we were like, we rented a bigger house specifically to help support other people who were healing or needed support with the medicine or just needed to be able to like have a minute. And so
Right.
being in full surrender, I was like, well, come stay with us, because
Yeah.
that's what we need to do. Is we need to be able to have, I mean, we have to say yes to this because I'm in full surrender. And what I realized was me doing that allowed me to go, okay, but am I doing the right thing? Am I supposed to be doing this? Is this what I'm supposed to be doing? Because I have a lot of work to do, and there's a lot, I'm supposed to finish my book and blah, 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 like all this stuff.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that keeps me up at night. And the more I've just surrendered, the more I'm able to just fall asleep and not worry about what's happening the next day, and just allow myself to be an example to this little family to know that it's going to be okay. It's going to be better than okay. So that's really what keeps me up at night, is making sure I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing.
So what gets you up in the morning?
Oh, I love coffee. I go to sleep and I'm like, I can't wait for my coffee tomorrow.
All right. I'm going to ask you a geek question. What kind of coffee person are you? Ooh. Are you an espresso? Like, are you the full, espresso machine? Or are you a drip, a pour over? Like, what is it?
If you ask me at like, I would say the last 10 years, at every year, the last 10 years, I would say a different thing. So I've tried all of it. My husband and I probably had every possible way of making coffee in our home at one point. Even a Breville, like we got one of the Brevilles and like lost 2 pieces, ended up having to buy them, and then just found them after throwing away the Breville because it kept breaking. And we're like, dumb. So now we're the drip people who we have the coffee maker that's set up overnight. So at 6 o'clock in the morning, it just automatically fills it up so I can walk out and just like get my coffee. So that's how my coffee now.
That it's prepared.
It is prepared. And it's done. I don't have to think about it.
Now you don't have to think about it. Yeah. Well, so how we're pretty much out of time. I can't believe I'm just looking up going, these things go by so fast. What can people, how do people find you? Confidante, how do they learn about what you do? Tell us all about Melanie Spring and Confidencia. How do they connect?
Well, you can go to brilliantrebelsretreat.com or confidencia.com. And both places will take you to what we do for our experiences. We help people. By next April, we'll be going to Bali on a rebel adventure. And so we have a couple different retreats a year. One that's coming up in December this year, and then usually one in June as well. And then we also have other ways of connecting, just like being able to have a course. And the book is coming out next January. But I think the biggest way is just like, if you Google Melanie Spring, you will find me.
Yeah.
I'm the expert in all.
Well, I love it. And thank you so much. I just loved listening to this, and we'll tag you when we publish everything on Sunday. But appreciate you hanging out with me. And I love catching up with you. It's good to see you. I look back at those pictures and I love the pictures, and I still use them. And I just remember the provoking questions you were asking all of us, and really challenging female founders. I just, you made a lasting impression on me. And that was 7 years ago.
It was a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. So for everyone listening or watching us live, thank you very much. Check us out. Go to the Hello Chaos YouTube channel on Sunday. You'll see us. Or you can always go to, any podcast platform. We're on all of them, Apple, Spotify, wherever you like to get them. You can hear us. This episode, again, will come out on Sunday. Please like and share it, comment. Hello Chaos is one of the many resources brought to you by Orange Whip. Orange Whip is a multimedia company dedicated to serving founders and entrepreneurs in affiliate cities. We're a one-stop shop, I call it one-stop shop content hub for a founder in local markets. So we're in Columbia, Charleston, and Greenville, South Carolina. We do local resource directories that connects you with 80 plus resources for founders to help you start, scale, grow, or exit. We do a curated events calendar in each market that allows you to know like one stop of what events for a founder you should be connecting yourself with, or funding deadlines, accelerated deadlines, even events that we'll put national events like the Confidencia ones on, so you can be exposed to those things. This month's edition is exploring the CEO mindset. So check that out. We just launched the online theme, I guess, 4 days ago, Sunday. So it's all around shifting into a CEO mindset and the challenges and the fun stuff that comes with us on that. Melanie, you know all about that. And again, I want to thank our episode sponsor, the Upstate LGBT Chamber. And from there, we will go to Orange Whip. Again, that's WIP, orangewhip.com. And if you want to hear about any guests or themes, email us at hello@orangewhip.com. But thank you again for checking us out and tuning in. It is Hello Chaos, and we'll see you next week. Thank you.